This is Auto Our World.
Right now, at this exact moment, your engine is producing toxic gases inside its own crankcase. Every single time those pistons fire, combustion gases push past your piston rings and flood into the lower half of your engine. If those gases are not removed fast, efficiently, and constantly, they will destroy your oil, eat through your seals, and silently choke your engine to death. The system responsible for stopping all of that fits in the palm of your hand, costs between $3 and $15, and most car owners have never once thought about it in their entire life. We are talking about the PCV system, and by the end of this video, you will understand it better than most mechanics ever explain it, because this single system, when it fails, can cost you anywhere from $500 to $8,000 in damage depending on how long you wait. PCV stands for Positive Crankcase Ventilation. The crankcase is the sealed lower section of your engine that houses the crankshaft, connecting rods, and the bottom of your pistons. No piston ring in the world creates a perfect seal, not on a new engine, not on any engine. As your pistons fire hundreds of times per minute, a small percentage of high-pressure combustion gases leak downward past those rings into the crankcase. This is called blowby, and it happens in every single internal combustion engine ever made. It is normal. It is expected. What is not acceptable is letting those gases sit there. Blowby gases are a mixture of unburned fuel, water vapor, carbon particles, and harmful combustion byproducts including hydrocarbons and carbon monoxide. When those gases mix with your engine oil, they form acids that attack the oil's protective additives and break them down faster, turning your oil into a thick, corrosive sludge. The PCV system's job is to pull those gases out of the crankcase before they cause damage, route them through a hose into the intake manifold, and burn them off in the next combustion cycle. Before 1961, engines used what was called a road draft tube, literally an open tube hanging below the engine that vented raw hydrocarbons and unburned fuel directly into the atmosphere. California was the first state to require closed PCV systems in 1961, and by 1968 the federal government mandated them across all vehicles sold in the United States. But this was not just about emissions. Closed PCV systems actually made engines last longer, because instead of allowing corrosive blowby gases to contaminate the oil, the engine now continuously purged them. Oil stayed cleaner longer, sludge buildup was dramatically reduced, and engine wear slowed down. A government regulation accidentally became one of the greatest engine longevity improvements in automotive history, and it costs $5 to maintain. Inside a conventional PCV valve is a spring-loaded plunger or ball. At idle, when intake manifold vacuum is high, the plunger is pulled open and maximum airflow is allowed through the crankcase. Under heavy throttle, when manifold vacuum drops, the spring pushes the plunger to a partially closed position to control flow. During a backfire, a sudden pressure spike in a manifold, the plunger slams fully shut, which is critical, because without that check valve a backfire would push a flame directly into the crankcase and straight into your oil vapors. This is not just a vent tube. It is a variable, pressure-responsive, explosion-preventing valve operating every single second your engine is running. PCV valves fail in two ways, and both are destructive. The first is when the valve clogs and gets stuck closed. Carbon deposits and oil sludge build up inside the valve and freeze the plunger in position, so crankcase pressure has nowhere to go. That pressure builds until your weakest engine seals begin to fail. Your rear main seal goes first, then your valve cover gaskets start weeping oil, then your front crankshaft seal follows. As oil leaks out, your oil level drops without any obvious external cause, your engine begins burning oil internally, blue-gray smoke appears from exhaust, spark plugs foul with oil deposits and misfire, and oxygen sensors get contaminated. The second failure mode is when the valve gets stuck open, creating a massive vacuum leak directly into your intake manifold. The engine's air-fuel mixture is thrown completely off, producing rough idle, poor fuel economy, and in many cases a lean misfire code, P0171 or P0174 on OBD2 systems. Some drivers chase that lean code for months, replacing oxygen sensors, mass airflow sensors, and fuel injectors, spending hundreds of dollars, all because nobody checked the PCV valve. Here is exactly what to watch for. If your engine is consuming more than 1 quart of oil every 1,000 miles, your PCV system is a top suspect. A rough or unstable idle that surges or shakes at a stoplight is a classic stuck-open PCV symptom. Blue or gray exhaust smoke, especially on startup or during deceleration, tells you oil is being burned inside the combustion chamber. Oil leaks appearing with no clear cause indicate elevated crankcase pressure pushing past your gaskets. One of the most reliable visual checks you can do right now is to pull your oil filler cap off and look at the underside. A healthy engine shows light tan residue, while a failing PCV system shows thick, dark brown, foamy sludge. Lean codes P0171 or P0174 with no other vacuum source identified should send you straight to the PCV valve, and a whistling or hissing sound near the valve cover often indicates a cracked PCV hose creating an audible vacuum leak. You do not need special tools to test the system. The rattle test is simple. Remove the PCV valve from the valve cover and shake it next to your ear. You should hear and feel the internal plunger rattling freely inside. No rattle means the plunger is stuck and the valve needs immediate replacement. The airflow test is done with the engine running at idle by disconnecting the PCV valve from its hose while keeping it connected to the valve cover, then covering the open end with your finger. You should feel strong suction pulling your finger toward the valve, and weak or no suction means the valve is clogged or the hose is cracked. The oil cap test involves removing the oil filler cap while the engine idles and holding a piece of paper or cardboard lightly over the opening. The paper should be gently drawn toward the hole, indicating proper negative crankcase pressure, and if the paper is pushed away, you have excessive positive crankcase pressure and a blocked PCV valve. These 3 tests take about 4 minutes combined. The standard factory recommendation is to replace the PCV valve every 30,000 to 50,000 miles, but if you use your car mostly for short trips, heavy stop-and-go driving, or cold weather starts, replace it every 20,000 to 30,000 miles. When you replace the valve, also inspect and replace the PCV hoses, which crack, stiffen, and develop pinhole leaks over time. On some modern European vehicles like BMW, Audi, and Volkswagen, the PCV system is integrated into a combined crankcase ventilation module or oil separator housing, which costs more at $80 to $300, but is still a straightforward DIY repair on most models. The single most powerful thing you can do to protect your PCV system and your entire engine is to change your oil on time, every time, with a quality oil that meets your manufacturer's specification, because fresh oil contains detergent additives that suspend and carry away blow-by contaminants before they form sludge. If you maintain the PCV system properly, you are looking at $3 to $15 for the valve and $10 to $30 for hoses, under $50 total. If you ignored it for 80,000 miles, valve cover gaskets run $150 to $500, a European PCV module adds $200 to $600, and with an engine flush you are looking at $430 to $1,250. If you ignored every warning sign, a rear main seal replacement runs $500 to $1,200, a catalytic converter $800 to $2,500, spark plugs and oxygen sensors another $300 to $700, and a top-end carbon cleaning $300 to $600, totaling between $1,900 and $5,000 or more. And in the worst case, where engine sludge caused internal bearing failure, you are looking at a partial rebuild at $3,000 to $6,000 or a full engine replacement at $5,000 to $10,000 and up. Every single one of those outcomes started with one ignored valve. The engines that last 250,000 miles are not special engines. They are not built differently from yours. They just had owners who paid attention to the small things. The PCV valve is one of the smallest things you will ever replace on your car and one of the highest leverage maintenance items that exists. 3 tests. 4 minutes. Under $15 to fix. Do it this weekend.